The stink, man. I am sorry.
It's pretty bad now.
I am truly sorry for that.
I don't know if you are.
No, I really am. Like, I rarely fart in a room with people, but that was just like, it just very suddenly came upon me. I just didn't know what to do with it, and it just came out. I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't have to apologize.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Do we need to make this part of the podcast now? Would that make it better? And then it's like your pain is justified.
Because we got some sort of entertainment out of it.
So let's just make this the unofficial start of the podcast. Does that make it better?
We'll go from there.
I am sorry. That was really nasty.
It's okay. Go on now. It was quick. Quick but deadly.
I don't know what that was. Like, I'm still just coming around from... I went to see 21 Pilots.
You were saying on Thursday?
Yeah, 2 nights ago, just to see Damien's show. They're not really my bag. A bit too hip-hoppy for me, you know. But,
and that would be in my bag, generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say they're pretty good at what they do, but if they would be in your wheelhouse, maybe they're not that good.
No, it's not. That's
they're very popular. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's
holy
not,
shit!
I am not the authority.
Like,
I just have
completely like booked out.
Yeah.
Like the whole place was unbelievable. Because I kind of thought, yeah, I heard of these guys like fucking 12, 13 years ago, and I never heard of them again.
You thought it was going to be like nobody there.
It was fucking massive.
That's good.
Obviously, I kind of knew it was going to be massive because they got like a whole pyrotechnics team.
Yeah.
So it's
it
kind of a prerequisite. Yeah. But the most important thing is how fucking ignorant people with dogs can be sometimes. I know that's a real bad segue.
That was a sharp turn in the road there.
It's a terrible segue. I'm just hitting fucking everything all early.
Niall's still upset because as we were driving down here, we seen a discarded dog poo bag, clearly filled with dog poo, tied off and all that, like 4 feet away from a bin on the ground. It's
like there's no excuse for that level of ignorance.
There's just not.
It's almost
why go to the doing the hard part of actually picking the shit up with your hands, putting it in a bag, and then not putting it in a bin.
But you see this all the time. Like me and the wife, we like to partake in a nice walk. So sometimes. You know, we'll go out and we'll do nice long walks through forests or, you know, woodlands or whatever it is, because we got loads of them around. But you always see dog shit tied up in a bag, tied to a tree. And
in the forest?
In the forest. And it's one thing if it's like, if the dog shit's on the path and you think, right, I don't want anyone to step on it. Let's pick it up in the bag and then chuck it out into the forest. And if it was biodegradable bags, that's another thing.
Different, but
you know, but it's clearly a plastic bag. It's not one of those like mushroom plastic
like the
things. You know, like
smooth or somehow. I don't know how to explain
like the ones that you put inside the food bins and stuff. It's not those. It's clearly a fucking plastic bag. So the thing is tied up inside a vessel for hundreds of years. It can never go back into the ecosystem.
But like a forest. So maybe I'm the bad guy here. All right.
Is this an am I the asshole situation?
A situation to an extent. But like, if I take like my mum's dog a walk in the forest, or when I had dogs years and years and years ago, like I'd prefer to go to places like forest because like there's animals all over the forest just shouting all over the place. I don't need to pick up my dog's poop in the forest. is my thought process.
I think there are two very different ways to look at it because like herbivorous animals pretty much unanimously make little pellets that even if you stand on them, it's really not that bad.
Badgers and stuff?
I don't know, because badgers aren't herbivores.
That's why I'm asking. Yeah. The badgers are in the forest, though.
I don't know, but
shouting all over the place.
I don't know, but for sure,
foxes.
I would say a dog turd way more. Well, yeah, fox. That's a good point. Yeah. So fox turds are kind of like dog turds.
Nobody's picking those up.
You know what? I'll give you that point. I'll give you that. You've changed my mind in seconds.
But it shouldn't be in a bag. The bag makes it worse.
The bag does make it worse.
Like just on the ground. If I was walking through a forest and I stepped in crap, I would not be upset. I'd be like, well, that's just what happens when you walk in the forest. Do you know what I mean? That's just how life is.
That's true. I have it's probably not a unique problem, but in like among all my family, all my loved ones who know me and spend any time around me know that my feet are like heat-seeking missiles for dog shit. So no matter where the dog shit is, You know, if a dog shits in a forest and no one's around, they step on it.
Nice.
Like, I'll still step on it. You know. It's unbelievable. It's actually gotten to the point of being irritating now because it's been proved right so many times.
I so rarely step in dog pee that I can't even imagine
Man,
how
it's all the time.
how this works.
It's
How that
all
happens.
the time, constantly having to fucking
You
go.
don't even have dogs.
No, I know.
It's not like you're
And we
stepping
got
on your
we
own
got two
dog.
little yappy dogs up the road that for a period were coming down into the yard and shitting and around like my car door. It felt like surely they couldn't have singled out my car door, but it felt like
that's
every
what it
time
is.
I went in and out of the car, I was stepping in this fucking shit.
They heard you talking about this.
I don't know.
And they're like, let's fuck with them.
Yeah. It's one of those anomalies that makes you like, it just makes you almost question the fabric of reality. You go, is there some underlying law of probability and consequence that we're not aware of?
Is this some sort of elaborate, years-long, like, prank where somebody that you know is just putting dog shit in places you're going to stand?
You know what? That's like the intelligent design aspect of it makes it make more sense.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like the more likely scenario in this situation.
But then you would need to have like a Truman Show style. I would need to be at the center of like a network of people all over the world, anywhere I've been.
All it takes is one very dedicated person.
Just the Jason Bourne
It's their life mission.
of making Niall step in shit. But anyway, regardless of that, so in that way, I do feel like it's a good thing for dog owners. They sort of take responsibility and at least put it in a bag. But when you're in a forest and you put it in a bag and you tie it on a tree,
Now you're a dick. There's
You're
no
a dick.
ifs or ands or buts about
Yeah.
it. You've gone to an extra extent to be more of a dick than
Yeah.
just leaving it there in a forest.
yeah,
in
and then
in the ground.
if you let your dog shit on the ground, you scoop it up, put it in a bag, leave it on the ground in the same spot in that bag, 4 feet away
From a bin.
in the middle of a walkway, you're still a dickhead.
You're more again. It seems
You're more of a dickhead.
it's more of a dickhead. I
Yeah.
can't. Like,
You're not just thoughtless then, you're malevolent.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's malicious at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
It's not like, blah de blah, I forgot to do it, or whatever it is. It's like I've made a conscious decision that I've put this bag wherever the fuck I want.
I remember the first time I ever had to scoop up dog shit with my hand.
It's a relatively new thing. Is that fair to say?
Well, whenever I was growing up, there were always dogs around, and I'm a council estate boy, so there was always dogs running around just shitting wherever. And maybe that had something to do with my reputation of a dog shitter, stepper runner.
That's where it started.
But like,
Is your origin stories?
yeah. But it never seemed to be a thing. Oh, like scoop your poop. It didn't really seem to be a
It feels
thing.
like a relatively new thing.
And then like 10 years ago, so like in the mid 2010s, I was staying up in a guy called D's house in Belfast, where not D, but a
I
different
guess
D.
by the way you explained it.
Yeah. But so I was staying in his house, and he had this real eccentric roommate called Rohan.
I was about to ask how a dog could be eccentric. But
No,
I was excited for a
he had a
second.
really eccentric roommate called Rohan, and Rohan was like proper in outer space, one of those guys.
Proper eccentric.
Yeah. But one night he just randomly asked me if I would take his dog for a walk, and I was like, yeah, because I was just the guest sitting there, and it was because I was working in Belfast, and it was saving me from having to put myself up or do long drives.
You felt the holding to an extent
So I
as
was
well.
like, yeah, no problem. She's like, oh yeah, no problem. It's just walk up this way, and then there's a park and whatever. And then he was like, oh, and here's the bags for scooping, for picking up the shit. Or no, he was like, here's the bags. I was like, what are the bags for?
It was like a 3 situation.
And then I had to scoop up this wee fucking tiny random dog. Not even a dog that I know well.
Yeah.
Like not a dog that I would be a dog friend of. We're dog strangers.
For some reason, I can see this in your head and the way you work that
Yeah.
you'll be offended by having to pick up the stranger dog's poo.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, you know, like I'd wipe my children's ass, but I wouldn't wipe a stranger's ass. Like, you know what I mean? There's a difference.
You're generally not invited to do that, though.
But if it was, that's like I'd make a terrible care worker.
I'd be awful at it.
I'd be
Like,
a terrible care. I would like some
fair
of the-
play to the people who do that because I could not.
Oh.
Like, it's not for me.
I have a lot of friends who work in that industry. One of my friends is like a director of a company that looks after sort of like, you know, adult disabled people and people who need assisted, like support, care support in life. And some of the stories that, like, obviously they can't really, like, they can't name names or anything, but they talk about some of the things that they've had to go through whenever they're at work, and, you know, being attacked and, you know, people like shitting all over their house because they're having a meltdown, and then they have to go in and try and sort them out and try and get them cleaned up, and, you know, trying to get them in. It's like trying to get a cat in a bath, trying to get them cleaned, and then, you know, they're like fucking scratching you with their shitty nails and like having to go get fucking tetanus shots and all. And
That's rough.
And they do not get paid enough.
No,
they don't get paid
I don't think
enough.
it's possible.
They don't
to pay
get.
enough.
They don't even get recognized enough. Like a lot of people will recognize, like, you know, nurses and doctors in hospitals, but support workers and care workers that just go out and I think it's maybe just that sort of societal blindness of, you know, the disabled or people that, you know, are like not really
over there.
They're not fitting into society. So you're just like, right, give them a stipend, let them sit off in a wee flat somewhere. We'll send somebody a couple of times a day to look after them. Like,
Don't like that.
it's just that kind of cultural brushing under the rug almost. So the people that are doing such hard work, they just don't get recognized. But I recognize it. I like you guys.
But like, it's technically like, and I don't believe this I'm saying, but it's unskilled, isn't it? That's
I know.
That's what we call it
That's
compared
such
to a
a
nurse.
ridiculous thing. Like,
Such a ridiculous thing.
you know, imagine having to go out and do all the same shit and potentially have to fucking get people in fucking jiu-jitsu headlocks without hurting them.
With less safeguards.
You know,
there's no security
having
guards around just stuff,
they
you know.
restrain people with like without actually touching them. It's like being a fucking kung fu master and a nurse. And then people being like, yeah, but it's unskilled labor. All you can get is minimum wage. Like, what? You got to go through all these like months of checks to make sure you're okay to work with vulnerable people and like go through specific hazard training.
There's a funny story I have. I've probably told you before, but I'm just going to reiterate regardless. But a friend of mine, he lives in Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. Did I tell you this recently? I feel like
Did you have a friend in Edinburgh?
No, that's not the end of the story. Obviously.
Okay. Well, then I don't know. I don't know if you told me already. Then you haven't
That'd be
told
an
me
awful
yet.
story.
I got a friend in Edinburgh too. Yeah.
But he did speech therapy for his degree. Mm-hmm. But after his degree, like there's a very, as far as I understood, there was not a big load of speech therapy jobs going. Mm-hmm. And he decided to pretty much become like an adult disabled care worker to an extent, where he would go.
Oh yeah, you have told me this story.
He would go to like, you know, severely autistic guys and girls' houses, like help them do their shopping, you know, take them to Tesco's. It was a whole thing, you know, but that was his job. It was just like making sure they were, you know, staying alive. Mm-hmm. And he like really enjoyed this job. It was like his favorite job of all time. He was just like, I get to go to the cinema with like these random people that I like, you know, I enjoy spending time with. They're actually good crack, you know. I enjoy
that was the key thing, that he was really getting on with everyone.
He was like everybody loved him. Yeah. It was like the best job ever for him. Yeah. And then he went through a sort of midlife crisis, is my understanding, or whatever. But he ended up being diagnosed as autistic as an adult, and because he was diagnosed autistic, he lost his job that he was clearly overqualified for at this point.
He was the best person for the job.
And it's like no better person for this job. But because that he was now technically a vulnerable adult, he couldn't work with the vulnerable adults.
Man, I hate that.
And now
I hate that so much.
Now he owns a vape shop. I know.
Oh, I hate that even more.
And
Like,
maybe it's not a vape shop. Maybe it's like a CBD sort of space. But
but like he's losing out there.
Everybody
the
lost out.
autistic people are losing out there. It's so fucking dumb. And I understand that it's to like safeguard him
I get it,
as an
yeah.
autistic person. But
he's very high functioning. Let's be very clear. Like more high functioning than I am as a person.
But there's so many people that you meet in life and just go, yeah, man, you're fucking on the spectrum for sure.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not holding them back.
Exactly.
It's not holding them back in any way. You know, they're like, they would be considered eccentrics in the 1800s. You know what I mean?
They could have
It's
considered eccentrics in the 80s. They were the 1800s.
I was thinking about this last night. I think about this a lot actually because
So disclosure, like we both have autistic children.
yeah.
And a very large spectrum difference, but yes.
Yeah. So mine would be very much on the extreme non-verbal behind special school end of things, and yours is in the
High functioning in terms
Yeah.
of like, but and kind of like what I was like at that age, where
foreshadowing for episode 83. Nate gets tested.
no, I'm not going to ever tell you that much, but he's like wicked smart, loves, he's really good, but he has big trouble with like regulating the social norms,
Cues, yeah.
social norms, not even cues. He gets cues a lot, but it's norms, and like this is what happened to me because there was no autism of that description. Back in those
Whenever
days.
we were growing up, it was like
I became
it's just shy.
I became very good at social norms because I had to. It was like
Yeah, you had to learn it.
I had no other option. So I became very sociable and very clever and how I speak to people.
Yeah.
Which has served me very well in life. But yes, go on. What were
Yeah,
you
you kind of have the idea of, and I tend to agree with you. I think it's good to get an assessment to get to know more about yourself and know yourself better and know how your mind works better. But in terms of how society then treats you, if you have an assessment, I think it's a bad thing because a lot of people aren't. It's not a disability.
No.
Okay, so you don't.
Not in my case, especially.
Yeah.
If I was to be considered autistic tomorrow by somebody, that is not. Nobody could turn around and say Nathan's disabled. No, that wouldn't fly.
But there's a lot of stuff about that because I've considered going and getting tested as well, and then I kind of thought they really want that. They need to bring it on every time I sign up for a new job, 4 times a year, disclosing and all that fucking shit. And I was like, does it really affect me? That I fucking, I'm not full like trains in the basement. I'm just like.
But even if you were, that wouldn't be the worst thing.
No, I know, but I'm just fucking a little bit awkward, and I don't pick up on shit sometimes, and it's not. It wouldn't even be enough, I feel, to get a diagnosis. I'm just a little bit autism adjacent.
I think for people like us.
Although my wife totally thinks she's like, oh, my little fucking butt pats me on the head sometimes, she's like, okay, Niall. And I'm like, I'm not autistic. She's like, okay, yeah, all right, whatever you say.
I probably could have done with like, how do I put this properly? I don't know if I would have fared better had I been diagnosed autistic as a child.
No.
Than I did because, this is me personally, I'm not talking about other people, but
it would
me
give you an
personally,
excuse, wouldn't it?
Just an excuse.
It would give you an excuse.
I can do whatever the fuck I want, and that's how I would internalize it in my head. That's how I would do that. So I know for me that I needed to not be.
Yeah, you were forced to mold to the world instead of having the world mold to your needs.
Exactly, and that's important for me.
But at the same time, I think obviously, like with my son, it's so important that they are able to get diagnosed and get the support they need.
No question.
But there's definitely a cusp where it's like, you don't need to be autistic. You can just be a little weird guy.
Yeah.
Like I know loads of just like guys who are just a little weird, and I love them. I get on great with them.
My favorite people.
And if they all went and got diagnosed with autistic, I'd start to sweat a little bit. I'd be like, oh, come on, man. You just like Pokemon.
Just like Pokemon.
Relax. Maybe I'm in denial. Maybe I'm in the denial phase of things.
But I did want to go back to your feet-seeking missiles. So there's two parts, but
Feet-seeking missiles. That's a good. That's really good. I'm taking that. All these years, literally 20 years of my dad, like more than 20 years of my dad
saying
taking the
heat
piss
and
out of me.
feet in the same sentence, and nobody put them together. You see, this is the thing.
Yeah, I think so.
This is what my house lived like. Is that because I do this with everything? I put all words together. I rhyme everything. I swap the letters about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like now the kids do it all the time, and it's really annoying. But I like, and now I understand, like, you know, my wife and, you know, my family, because like my family don't do this. This is entirely a me thing. I would do this all day, every day.
Clever
and
word.
I'm like,
Clever wordplay is right in your wheelhouse, but it's just not quite.
You get the clever wordplay. These are all the offcuts where I'm working towards clever wordplay.
Oh, okay, all right. I get the good shit.
You get the good stuff.
Okay, nice. But that's the thing. If you're not quite hitting the mark, it's like bad dad jokes, isn't it?
Well, exactly.
You gotta hit there's a threshold of quality that you need to meet.
But because there's a lot of like, because it's a lot of like moving letters about and stuff, it's good for the kids to do that, you know, for their to understand English better, you know. So I'm not poo-pooing it and I'm laughing at them, even if I'm like severely annoyed. Like, this is too much. You're doing it wrong is another thing in my head, because even though I made up all the rules arbitrarily in my own head,
you're not doing this specific thing the way I do this specific thing. You're for sure you're not autistic.
But back to the dog thing. So like when I was at the Giants Causeway a couple of weeks ago, and we were like, when was the last time you were at the Giants Causeway?
Oh man, I feel like we filmed something up there in the not the recent past, like the last couple of years. But I don't think I actually went down, because you got to go through an arch, don't you? And then you walk. I don't think I actually went down to them.
Like near the very end of the pathway you can go. So for most of the last half of it, really, you're like, what would you say, 200 feet above the sea, and the path is really narrow. You know, you're going single file. You're not like walking in pairs, and there is a steep drop off. But we're at the very end. There's like only narrow path for as far as the eye can see. And this little tiny dog comes like with his owner, but he's off his leash, walking past me, and like the way that your feet attract dog shit, I just attract all animals to my vicinity at all times. Cats and dogs and all sorts. Not your cat, but this dog, as he was walking past, I gave it like a wee. I just moved my hand as if I was going to pet him, well away from him, but just like a little hello to the dog. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Just be like, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool. You don't need to worry. I'm not, you know.
Just in case you're sentient in some way, I'm saying hello. And, you know, good work.
I'm pretty sure dogs are sentient. You don't think dogs are sentient?
I mean that they understand that I said hello.
For sure they do.
You know what I'm trying to say. Well, anyway, I did this, and all of a sudden, this dog has decided, like, either I've offended him, or, like, he wants to just stay with me the whole time. But he starts jumping up. I'm talking, like, we're 200 feet above the sea on, like, a 3 feet wide path. And this dog is just jumping. And I'm, like, standing deathly still, because I don't want to make a single movement that the dog like moves one way and I like move my foot out and kick him and he goes straight off the thing. Yeah. Which is an awful thought, but like,
although I think you would be justified, because that is like life-threatening scenario.
It was a very small dog now.
Yeah, no, but all it takes
I could have handled it.
But all it takes is for you to like lose your footing and trip.
I get that.
And try not to, like, if it starts running on between your legs and then you're trying not to step on him, next thing you're tripping over yourself. That's why I stayed still, though. You know what I mean?
But
that's per dog ownership.
Well, it seemed like, because I seen this dog throughout the whole journey that afterwards, because they were close enough to us. The owner like called it away, came back. This lasted for like a good 20 minutes on this precarious ledge, like where I'm trying to walk, and this dog keeps coming at me.
Yeah.
But when we went down to like you know, other parts where it was way more populated and way more open, he didn't give a fuck about anybody else. Like, he was just being a normal dog. It was only me that he decided to, like, take offense to in some way, shape, or form. Or more likely, he smelled the cat or whatever happened. Like, but I am just not... I used to have dogs, and I liked them. But...
That's a long pause.
Since I have had cats... Since
You wouldn't go back?
I couldn't.
No?
And this is going to sound really selfish, okay? And it is, in its own way, quite selfish and unabashedly. I don't want to be told when to go for a walk.
I
This is the
understand that.
main thing. It's the main reason I don't want to have a dog. If I have to walk the dog twice a day, I'm not going to want to. If you told me, hey, you can go for a walk, I'd be like, class. I'll go 4 times a day.
Yeah, it's
but
the
when I'm
burden.
told I have to, nope.
It's the burden, isn't
It's the
it?
burden, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't know what it is about it.
No, I understand that. Although, like, I would like to have a dog. Me and Emma have kind of talked about it.
Kids want a dog. We've talked about. I've almost got to the point of getting a Chihuahua because I found out I can litter train them. Like that, because I know this is the one hang up that I have, and I'm not going to get a dog and not walk it. But I know that if I get a dog, I'd resent it.
Walk it, yeah.
I'd resent it. That's the thing.
So we're moving out into the middle of nowhere, and I think having not necessarily like a guard dog, but having a dog that if someone's trying to break into the house and they're like, oh hey, some shit's going on downstairs, I think that's a good thing to have.
Steve, my cat,
Yeah.
and this is not learned behavior, and it's not trained behavior. This is just some sort of weird, innate behavior that he has. But when the window cleaners come, when the postman comes, whoever, gardeners, whoever, like, I only know they're there because Steve is on the stairs growling at the door like a dog.
Steve is very
so
doggish
weird.
though.
It's great. I mean, I've got all the benefits of
Steve's got big dog personality.
He does, but I love that.
Yeah.
Like, he is a guard dog. Like, I know when somebody's there. I mean, I have cameras too, but I don't have to look at them.
Or my cats absolutely are not. Like, they don't give a shit. They're like, oh, is this another person to feed us? Like they would sell my ass out if anyone came in with a couple of sachets of fucking like
The good stuff.
Purina Gourmet or something. Like, that's all it takes. And then
I have still to win over one of your cats. It doesn't entertain me at all.
Yeah, Button's like that. That she was born on the streets. She's got anger issues. Like, she's got unresolved shit. There's no cat therapy. Like, well, maybe there is cat therapy. I don't know.
I'm sure there's cat therapy.
In
What do you call that boy that has,
California,
like, the weird beard
California,
hair
they're
situation?
going to have fucking cat therapy, aren't
Do you
they?
know who I'm talking about?
Who?
There's some sort of cat personality, cat owner personality. Remember, like, Caesar Milan? Is that his name? The dog boy?
Is that the baldy guy? Baldy guy is on. Oh no, that's some YouTube guy I'm thinking of that actually is a cat person.
I meant this thing. Is he bald and has a weird looking beard where he just looks weird?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was a personality. I thought he was just some guy on YouTube that I found once. That's most of the
YouTube
content.
doesn't exist for you.
Most content that I consume is like niche weird things on YouTube that I'd never think I'm going to meet anyone else who, like, obviously he's got like 100,000 subscribers or something, but that's like 0.1% of the population,
It's just, and like, it's funny because we both have very niche interests in quite a lot of ways.
Obviously, watching cat psychologist videos is one of the ones that overlap. Yeah.
I think all cat owners probably know who this guy is. Like, anybody who likes cats the way that we do, you know what I mean? As opposed to just has a cat. But yeah, like, I like, there's not a single person I meet in life, like, for the first time, that I expect that likes wrestling or Eurovision or like any number of the things that I like obsess over, like Sherlock Holmes and Hannibal Lecter stuff and Michael Crichton books. All these things that I like. And like it's quite a lonely existence sometimes because, like, how do I put this properly? Like sometimes when I finish reading a book, that is quite a popular book. It's just that nobody that I know has read it. I want to like talk to somebody about it and be like, but at the same time, I haven't really got much to say. It's not like I'm trying to start a book club or have a critique. I would hate that.
Yeah,
I just want to like have a light-hearted. That was class, wasn't it? And everybody else be like, that was class.
Yeah. Not to bring it all back around again, but if you want to find a group of people that are into wrestling, Eurovision songs, Sherlock Holmes, Nintendo video games, maybe you want to start fucking Autism Anonymous.
No, I'm not going to start an AA group. Because everybody has their own thing.
You're doing yourself no favors here on the whole I don't need assessed.
Everybody has their own thing is the problem. This is what the problem. But but the good thing for us is that we have very different things that we can talk about, and we actually talk to each other and listen to each other about these things, which is good. but yes, well, at least we both share Eurovision to an extent. Mm-hmm. I've gone too far on the one side of Eurovision.
Oh, I'm a big I'm a big Eurovision fan as well. Like, you know, not quite to the same scale, but I'd say if you're the 100% super fan, I'm kind of like at the 90, 80, 88%.
I would be at most 92 if you're 88. The people here are at 100%. I see them, I know them, I don't like it. Yeah. it's too far, it's too much. I watched like a 45-minute video and it's just because I was like doing the dishes, and so therefore my hands were wet and I couldn't touch the screen.
Yeah.
I just put it on and be like, let's see what they're talking about Eurovision. It was 45 minutes, and this girl, like, she was in the weeds, man.
Yeah.
Like,
She was in it.
she was referring to, like, you know, the EBU, you know, like Martin and all those boys, as like the current regime, and like they all need to step down after what happened with Israel last year. Oh, this MAGA shit. like at very, very like top level, like a lot of what she said wasn't wrong. She didn't have any real hot takes, but it's just like the
level of gusto.
Yeah, the feeling and like clearly like despair that she felt was too far.
It's so hard to know, because sometimes I find that very endearing, and then sometimes I find
I do too.
A little bit like, oh, okay.
I like somebody who cares about something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who has an opinion of their own that cares about something. Like, I always, and regardless of what that opinion is about, and regardless of how much they care, it's still nice that they have something that they actually like.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to a point, once people become zealots, I kind of take a step back.
In any situation.
I don't fuck with zealots. I don't care if it's religious zealotry, if it's political zealotry, if it's identity zealotry, whatever it is. If you're like ready to fucking murder people over it, I'm like, nah, get the fuck out of here.
Do you hear kind of the worst of that? Because like,
be careful now. Careful now.
Because like we're
don't get us cancelled. We're only on episode 11.
Like I'm very much like a big cat person, and like I like cats a lot, and I'll like go to quite large extents to like know about and play with cats. But dog zealots.
I feel like we've done a lot of shitting on dog people today, haven't we? But this has just been an episode of cat people dunking on dog people.
But like, it's so different, and you know it's true. Like the people who are so into their dog, like, and it's because they take it places and stuff. You see, you don't take cats places.
No, but I really like the idea of that as well, though. Like, I'm not
a little companion.
I'm really not against like dogs. It's just the way that we work. Because we can be away for months at a time. Like, you can't do that with a dog. So I would have to leave the film industry. Both of us, or at least one of us, would have to leave the film industry to be able to have a dog.
Or, just like my previous solution with the litter box, a chihuahua that goes with you.
No, I would not have a fucking chihuahua. No way.
Imagine you in your rehab bag.
No hope, like,
walking through the airport.
No, I like a wee, what are they called? Spaniel? Like a little
Springer Spaniel.
Springer Spaniel.
They're not exactly wee, but they're not big dogs.
Yeah, no, I like a little, like that size dog, you know. For anybody listening, that's like maybe 40 centimetres, 50 centimetres off the ground. No, less than that. 40 centimetres off the ground. I didn't until yesterday, so I'm one page ahead.
Actually,
in the instruction manual, I'm 1 page ahead here. I'm talking on a fucking podcast about it. Like,
to be fair, when you said Springer Spaniel, I immediately thought of a dog that like a friend of mine when I was like 8 was a Springer Spaniel.
Yeah.
So that's kind of probably why I know that realistically. But I live in a very different world than you. You want a medium-sized dog. That's the only size dog that I would not have. I will have tiny dog, or I have giant dog, and I will have nothing in between.
see, Emma was talking about a big dog as well, because she
Saint
loves
Bernard.
She loves
Big Beethoven boy.
yeah. Well, she loves Alsatians, and I would class an Alsatian as a big dog.
Big enough dog, yeah.
And then she was like, or a wolfhound. I was like, nope, I'm not having a fucking wolfhound. Like, you know, I'm not saddling this cunt up whenever we're going for a walk. Like, it's too
Neither
big.
Doherty doesn't want an Irish wolfhound.
Too big, man. And if you're gonna go that big, then just go the whole hog and get one of those like Russian bear killing dogs. You know, the Caucasians.
Why we don't have bears here?
Yeah, I know. We don't have wolves here either. What's your point?
Well done, wolfhound.
You fucking got me. And we have one bear here. No, we got 2 bears here.
In Wild Island, you're saying?
Wild Island, yeah.
I thought you were going to make a gay joke there.
Well, we got a few of those as well. Like, we got a fair few of those for sure.
Or what was that TV show about bears? Not about bears. Called The Bear or something. It was like
Is
a
that-
cooking show or something. I didn't see any of it, so this is awful.
I don't know. Am I going mad? Is there a gay bar in Belfast called like The Bear and something?
I have no idea.
No.
And not because of the gay part, because of the Belfast part. I know nothing about Belfast.
Yeah, I feel like we were there. Maybe it's not a gay bar. Maybe it's just called The Bear and something, and I thought it was a gay bar. Because I
don't know
think,
what to know.
I think we were there for a Game of Thrones party one time. Is what?
Game of
yeah,
Thrones.
but then, now I'm thinking.
Was there a Y in Game of Thrones?
Yeah, no, I'm like, why would we have had a Game of Thrones party in a gay bar? Probably not. We probably wouldn't have.
Well, it depends if it's a good venue. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look this up. It could just be fake news.
Like, I've been to many a gay bar in my life because it was like where the crack was in that moment. Do you know what I mean? It's
oh
my-
man, Pepe's used to be so good.
Pepe's was great crack.
Pepe's was a gay bar in Derry, our hometown.
Way a long time
But
ago.
it was such good crack. You know, we used to go in there all the time when we were teenagers, and because, well, first of all, you could buy poppers behind the counter.
Well,
which
I've
was like-
never done poppers. I've never got poppers before.
But there was that, and I'm making myself out to be a fucking drug head now.
You're the farthest thing from a drunk head. That's the worst part.
Back when I was a teenager, it was good fun. But and then, you know, you would go on and they would just have like drag queens just singing diva karaoke and stuff, and like, you know, and everybody was really nice as well. It was probably because, you know, of the implication of like
The implication.
Yeah, the implication that, you know, they were like trying to get off with, like, you know, a wee young buck that was in there, you know, with his poppers. But like, I was probably giving the wrong vibes. I've talked about my George Michael vibes as well.
Oh, yeah,
in the past.
You have when you have the short hair. Especially.
Whenever I've got the short hair and I'm still dressing my heavy metal stuff, but then all of a sudden having a dangly earring and a big leather jacket and the ripped jeans,
so funny.
when you got a really nice haircut, gives off a completely different vibe.
I was going to say, when you said about karaoke, just because we got a new pope there a couple of days ago, because of my algorithm, so to speak, in social media is so madly skewed from a lot of different things. But one of them is looking up about Filipino things, because I have Filipino people who work in my team that I work with closely, and I quite like them, and, you know, want to sort of understand a little better things like that. But there's a big, and you probably know this, but there's a big karaoke culture in the Philippines. Like, it's a trope that they all love doing karaoke, that they're all incredible singers. The guys in Belfast that you see with the cajon and the guitar that look of Asian descent, they're all Filipino. They're like the buskers I'm talking about.
I don't know who these people. Is this a specific busker, or are there a lot of buskers?
I've seen like 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
Of different people.
I
But
didn't know
anyway,
that.
point I'm making is there was just so many memes like a week ago about like when we get a Filipino pope, if the Pope was Filipino, that's like the vibe of the meme. That every time it's just like somebody singing karaoke, but like in some really grandiose, amazing way, and like around the Vatican, like the Vatican's in the background, really shoddily put in or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I just really enjoyed it. It's like, and I was secretly hoping for a good Filipino Pope.
That's very interesting because I didn't know that thing about the karaoke, but I have seen loads of videos of, you know, like Southeast Asian descent people being fucking unbelievable singing songs.
Unbelievable, like.
And now that you say that, it kind of clicks that they probably were from the Philippines. And
The thing is that the Philippines, like, they speak such good English, like nearly everybody, and even Tagalog is like their language is almost
kinda
half
like
English.
Spanish, isn't
It's like half English, half like whatever Filipino original
why am I
language is.
thinking that Filipinos have some kind of Spanish or Portuguese heritage?
Weirdly,
or
there's
something?
so much going on there. So they do have like a big sort of Latin American Spanish.
Did it come across as
descent.
Pacific from
It must have
America?
been. And then they have like a big Chinese descent, population as well. It's just a lot going on in
That's
the
weird
Philippines.
because, like,
But they're also very Catholic.
yeah, in my mind, like Southeast Asian, you know, like Thai and Filipino and stuff. I think there's a very big difference whenever you see them. You know, they don't kind of look like they're of Chinese descent in any way.
No, and I'm saying that there's quite a lot of the Filipino people are of Chinese descent, and therefore follow those cultural
Oh, okay. I get
norms and stuff,
Yeah.
or holidays and things like that too. But yeah, it's really interesting. Philippines is mad interesting as a place, just full stop. Like, and it's almost a little extra Western than most Asian countries because
Yeah.
of it being an army base for the America.
Oh, okay.
In the Second World War.
Yeah.
So like that's why the English is so good there, and
Yeah, I think it looks very, very cool there as well. Like, I don't know a lot about it, but what I have seen about it, and then there's I don't know if it's called a manga, if it's from the Philippines, but anyway, there's like the equivalent of a manga that they made into an anime, which is now on Netflix, if you want to check it out, called Trece. It's about this girl who's like a detective, but also like she's connected to the paranormal, and a lot of it goes into like Filipino traditions and mythology.
Oh, amazing.
So there's a lot of like, all of the underworld kind of paranormal, supernatural murders and stuff are happening by all of these Filipino myths, basically, and she's
I like
tied
that a
into
lot.
that whole underworld.
I might try to get the kids into it.
It's very cool.
Too much
well,
for the kids.
Yeah,
It's okay.
Maybe.
Good thing you told me.
Yeah.
Because I good thing I said that out loud.
Yeah, you could probably watch it with the eldest, but
Even then, it's a
I
little
wouldn't,
okay.
yeah. But it's definitely worth watching, Well, we leave it there for now because I think we were just on the cusp of getting into a Pope conversation, but I think we'll leave that for the next episode. We'll get a top up of the coffee.
Okay.
We'll come back and talk about the new Pope because you love a Pope.
I do love a good pope.
Yeah. This one's worth talking about, isn't it?
It's a papal conversation. That's
Okay.
worth the podcast.
All right,
Papal
let's do
podcast. The People's Papal
Not a-
Podcast.
I'm not doing a papal podcast with you.